What would you do if the one person you trusted more than anyone on earth was slowly poisoning your life, right under your own roof? The night everything broke was a Tuesday, under the cold, sterile lights of our kitchen. I held up my phone, the screen glowing with a photo I'd received from an anonymous number, a photo of a positive pregnancy test. My wife Jessica saw it, and her face crumpled into a mask of theatrical relief, tears welling in her eyes as she whispered about the miracle we'd been waiting for. She thought it was her test. She thought our long, painful journey with infertility was finally over. She had no idea that the picture was a trap, the first move in a game she didn't even know she was playing. And she definitely didn't know that I was the one who sent it. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For months, something had been wrong. It started subtly. Jessica, who once shared every detail of her day, became a vault. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now permanently attached to her hand, screen down. She started working late, blaming a demanding new project at her marketing firm in downtown Chicago. Then came the receipts I found in her coat pocket for dinners at Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse on Rush Street, a place we only went for anniversaries, paid on a credit card I didn't recognize. The dates matched her late nights at the office. The humiliation was a physical thing, a cold weight in my gut. I'd overhear snippets of hushed phone calls, her voice dropping to a seductive whisper before she'd snap the phone shut, claiming it was just her mother. She became cold, almost cruel. When I'd try to talk to her, to bridge the growing chasm between us, she'd turn it around on me. I was being paranoid. I was suffocating her. Didn't I trust her? Her manipulation was flawless, and for a while, I almost believed her. I felt myself breaking, the foundation of my world turning to sand. The man who looked back at me in the mirror was a ghost hollowed out by suspicion and a love that was curdling into poison. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday. She said she was at a conference in Rosemont. I knew it was a lie. I'd called her office to send flowers, and her assistant, a sweet girl named Chloe, sounded confused. Jessica took the day off, Mr. Davies. My heart hammered against my ribs. I drove. I didn't have a plan, just a gnawing certainty. I ended up in the parking garage of the Swiss Hotel, overlooking the Chicago River, and there it was. Her pearl-white Lexus parked next to a black Porsche I recognized instantly. It belonged to David Thorne, a smug real estate developer she'd met at a charity gala. I'd hated him on sight. He had the predatory stillness of a shark. I sat there for 3 hours, the rain blurring my windshield, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. When they finally emerged from the elevator lobby, laughing, his hand possessively on the small of her back, something inside me didn't just break. It hardened. It turned to steel. The grief was gone, replaced by a cold, terrifying clarity. They looked so untouchable, so wrapped up in their own selfish world. That's when the plan began to form. Revenge wouldn't be a fiery explosion. It would be a slow, meticulous demolition. I started gathering proof. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who operated out of a dusty office on the West Loop. He was expensive, but worth every penny. He gave me everything: photos of them kissing in a dimly lit booth at the aviary, hotel check-in records, even audio of their conversations from a bug placed in David's car. The words were a knife to the heart, but I listened to every second, letting the pain fuel me. Jessica spoke of me with such contempt, calling me her sweet, pathetic little project. David laughed, calling me the golden retriever. While they were laughing, I was building my case. I met with the best divorce attorney in the state, a woman known as the Shark for a reason. We used the evidence to draft an ironclad divorce petition, citing the infidelity clause in our prenup, the very clause Jessica had insisted on, joking that it was for my protection. The trap was set. The final act was designed for maximum impact. I waited until her parents' 40th anniversary party. The ballroom at the Drake Hotel was filled with everyone who mattered in our lives: family, friends, her father's business partners. It was a monument to their perfect family, and I was about to tear it down. During the toasts, I stood up, my champagne flute in hand. I started by talking about love, trust, and family. Jessica was beaming, her hand on my arm. Then my tone shifted. I spoke of betrayal. I spoke of the positive pregnancy test I'd shown her weeks ago. I saw the flicker of confusion in her eyes. "The thing is," I said, my voice ringing through the silent room, "that test didn't belong to Jessica." I pulled a small stack of papers from my jacket pocket. "This one does. It was a DNA test. Test I had secretly conducted on a water bottle she'd left in my car. It wasn't a pregnancy test. It was a fertility analysis. It stated, in cold clinical terms, that due to a medical condition, it was nearly impossible for her to conceive naturally." The room was utterly silent. Her mother's smile froze. "But that's okay," I continued, my voice dangerously soft, "because David Thorne's wife, who is also here tonight, is 3 months pregnant. And according to these documents, David has been funding his secret life with Jessica by embezzling from his own company his wife's father owns." I let that hang in the air. David, standing near the bar, went pale. His wife, a quiet woman I'd only met a few times, stared at him, her face a canvas of dawning horror. Then I looked back at Jessica. Her face was a ruin. The tears streaming down her cheeks weren't for a lost miracle. They were for her lost life. The whispers started, then grew into a wave of shocked murmurs. A server walked up to Jessica and handed her a manila envelope. Then another server approached David with an identical one. They had been served, in public, in front of everyone. Her father, a man who valued reputation above all, looked at her with utter disgust. The social destruction was absolute. The legal and financial ruin would follow. I placed my wedding ring on the table, turned, and walked out of the ballroom without looking back. The city lights felt different as I walked along the lakefront, the cold air a welcome shock. It was over. There was no triumph, no joy, just a vast, hollow emptiness. I had won, but I had lost everything to get there. My revenge was complete, but the silence in my apartment was louder than any screaming match had ever been. The end.